Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Steve McKinney, best-selling author, owner of Fitness and More, a personal trainer and fitness coach, and a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Has over 30 years of experience in strength training, fat loss, and longevity, and has personally logged over 150,000 personal training sessions and also developed the 3W approach to fitness. We'll talk about that and also about his book. And Steve's mission is to help people age strong, simplify with fitness, and cut through the noise of the health industry. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's always a pleasure.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show, Steve. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We will learn from you the simple fitness formula for strength and longevity. We'll learn all about that. But before that, Steve, let's learn a bit about you, your journey, your background, so that people know who they are listening to. Let them learn about you straight from you itself.
Absolutely. So years ago, I started a gym in my garage, and I had people coming in, and they would pay a monthly fee. And so I had a bunch of people come in. It was in a residence. And so when they would come in, though, they would ask me all kinds of questions. Hey, how do I work out? How do I diet? How do I do this? So I decided then it probably would be a good idea to become a personal trainer. And so I transformed my business into a one-to-one private personal training studio. And then what I did over that time, AJ, is what I kept records of what everyone could do. This was over 30 years ago. And I kept records of what everyone could do. And not just for a short period of time, but for a lifetime. And so I created this anti-aging longevity type of program even before we were aware of that kind of stuff going on. And I figured out a system in the middle of it, and I called it the 3W approach to fitness. If you hold up three fingers, it makes a W. It's weight training, walking, and watching your diet. And what I did was I took it and I wrote it in my book. I put all these systems together, and I figured out how people can train for a lifetime while keeping themselves safe and increasing their presence in their business and their personal relationships. Over the years, I've trained professional athletes, I've trained business owners, I trained CEOs, I train regular people, day-to-day people who just want to get in shape. And to this day, I still train clients, and I do it in a really unique way. I do it in a 15-minute session. And that's what really is unique about it. I only have people come in, see me 2 days a week, or they follow the system 2 days a week. But the key to it, the real key to it, is learning how to train your muscles and save your joints and make it simple. And that is really the whole system in a nutshell and what I did with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Steve. If someone says, Steve, you are oversimplifying this fitness thing, what would you say? 15 minutes twice a week? Everyone wants to just not go to the gym in that sense, and just, if possible, do it in whatever they need only for 15 minutes. Help us understand. Means it's almost unbelievable the way you say it, but it is because you have done so many hours, so many clients. I want to get that better in terms of understanding for the audience.
Sure. So here's my thing. Most people will go to the gym and they'll go every day and they'll go for an hour. They'll do it 5 days a week. To me, that's a part-time job. My thing is this: what if I can get you just as good as results, if not better results, in a shorter period of time? Once again, the key to this is how hard you work, not how long you work. There are 4 different muscle fiber types, AJ, that we have to stimulate in order for our muscles to get stronger. And I'll just put them as types 1, 2, 3, and 4, just for simplicity. But the key to this is getting to the 4th muscle fiber type. The first 3 muscle fiber types, they fatigue relatively quickly. For example, if I'm doing a set of curls, when I do a set of curls, if I keep that muscle under the tension, under the load for a period of time, That's what will stimulate muscle. So the first three muscle fiber types, they fatigue about 45 seconds, anywhere from 10 to 45 seconds, and they recover fast. The key is to getting to that fourth muscle fiber type. And the problem is most people quit the exercise before they get to where the exercise has the most benefit because it begins to hurt, it begins to burn. And so what I tell people to do is you want to get to that point where you embrace that pain, embrace that discomfort, because it only lasts for a very short period of time. And once that muscle is stimulated, here's the thing, it takes 48 to 72 hours for that muscle fiber to recover. And if you allow it to recover, you will then get stronger. Most people, they recover enough to go to the gym the next day, but not to get the most results in the shortest period of time. And what happens when you're training that often and that long for hours at a time, or for 5 or 6 days a week, your joints begin to hurt, your joints begin to break down. Now, the key is strength training. That is the number one thing for anti-aging. When it comes to losing body fat, that's predicated by diet, not by exercise. Exercise is a very inefficient way to lose body fat because you have to reduce your caloric intake or how much food you eat as a whole. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, yes, indeed, Steve. And we'll come to this 15-minute workout after this. First, let me understand about you. Talk about, why most people get fitness wrong and how to fix it. What is it that people are getting about fitness wrong? Let's understand that, and also tell us what is wrong and how to fix it.
Yeah, there's so much information out on the internet. And when a client comes to me, they are so confused about what to do. They'll go out, they'll try to train for a long period of time. They'll try to do a lot of aerobic work. If you can simplify that process, if I can get you the results in a shorter period of time and allow your body to feel better in doing so and free up your personal time, that is the big thing. Most people, what happens in the gym, like I said earlier, it becomes a part-time job, but people also socialize in the gym. I don't go to the gym to socialize. I go to the gym to get results. That's the whole idea. And so that frees up more time for my business practices, for my personal relationship, anything that I want to do with that. That's how that simply works. And like I said, most people get it wrong because they follow what's out there on the internet. They follow all the influencers, the people with huge muscles and all that kind of stuff. And most people are never going to reach that level. But as you age, you begin to lose that muscle. And then people don't understand that weight training is the key to anti-aging. That is the number one key. That is why I call exercise medicine in the middle of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, coming back to the 15-minute workout, how does one get started with it? What is the requirement for it? Who can do it? Who cannot do it? Are there if someone doesn't get directly training from you, if they listen to this video, how do they get started with this 15-minute of workout?
Well, obviously, we're going to talk about it in my book. Everything's in the book there. It's called The Gospel of Fitness. It's available on Amazon. It's available on Barnes & Noble as well. But if you go through, I explain everything in detail in that book. And now, 15 minutes is a guideline. It's not like I have to do 15 minutes and 15 minutes only. Sometimes you won't believe this, but sometimes I'll go into a workout and I keep a journal of every workout that I have. I have it in my journal. And sometimes that workout may take 12 minutes. But think about it this way. If you've ever went outside to take a run, if you run fast, you can't run long. If you run slow, you can run long. So running fast increases what's called intensity. That's what I do with the workout. I increase the intensity. So the workout applies to anyone because here's why. A trained muscle is a trained muscle. It doesn't matter who you are. The whole idea for us is to fatigue and stimulate that muscle very deeply so that it breaks down, but then it recovers but it also recovers to get stronger. Now, when you have physical injuries or things like that, you have to be able to work around those things. And so when I have people who have an injury, I just tell them, hey, listen, if that hurts in a bad way, we don't do that exercise. We work around that exercise. But generally, like I said, I've trained high level athletes. I train I train my 89-year-old aunt. She comes to my gym. Same principles apply, but at 89 years old, she's not going to be able to do as much, as long, or as hard. But a younger client, when I get a younger client in, we take them through the paces and we go from one exercise to the next exercise without any rest. And what this does, it increases your aerobic capacity because your heart rate is up for a period of time. And then I add the walking to that, the 3W approach. I'd add the walking to that in the middle of it, just so you have some time to do that. And I think that the walking part helps just calm your body down, calm your mind down, and lets you see things from a different perspective as well.
Absolutely. And talking of the 3W approach to fitness, and especially you talk about it is very good for long-term health. So tell us a bit about that so that, we understand. Is it within the 15 minutes you have to do it, or is it separate thing that we have to follow it?
Okay, it's separate. So the system looks like this. When I start people out, I'll start them out at 3 days a week, only because it takes them time to learn the exercises. So they'll do 3 15-minute sessions per week. Once they learn how to do the exercises, we cut that down to 2. Then I find out what a person's goals are. And a lot of people nowadays, what you'll have, Jay, is you'll have people who want to lose body fat. That's the big thing. I want to look better. I want to feel better. And as you age, you just lose that energy. You lose that feeling good. So what we do then is we give them a diet. We help them understand diet, and we help them understand diet from their perspective. What are their goals? In order to lose body fat, you have to measure everything. You have to know how many calories you're eating, and then you can create a calorie deficit. No matter what you look at, you have to create a calorie deficit to lose body fat. Some people don't need to lose body fat, so we keep them in a maintenance mode. See, people want to gain, you can make a little adjustment there. Now, when it comes to walking, I use walking after my evening meal. There was a study done, and what this guy did, he measured what's called the BMR, your basal metabolic rate, and he did 3 sessions or 3 tests on it. So he had a person do a walk, and then 3 hours later, he measured their metabolism. He had a person eat a meal and do a walk, and he measured their metabolism. And then he had a person do a walk and eat a meal. So he did these 3 measurements. What he found was the person who ate a meal and then took a walk within like a 15-minute period after their walk, they took a 30-minute walk. They found that increased the BMR by 25 to 30%. So their body began to burn fat at a better rate. And so that system, you just create a little bit of a calorie deficit, you measure what you're doing, and you take a walk in the evening. The beauty of taking a walk in the evening, I would just say it's like an experience that when you take a walk, you begin to see the outside, you look around. Obviously, in my area, I have to walk on the treadmill because it's too cold to go outside and walk at this time of the year. But generally, I love to get outside and walk. Fresh air, sunshine, those things are great for your soul, and they make you feel so much better. And that is how the system works together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One thing I want to understand also for the audience is about the gender. In terms of exercises, how should we look at it? Should we look at it the same way, or a man should look at this fitness thing differently than a woman? How should women look at it? Because they have this whole bone loss and all those because of natural issues and all. I want to understand for them with your guidance.
Absolutely. It is the same. Once again, a trained muscle is a trained muscle. And you mentioned bone loss or osteoporosis. I write about that in the book. And so what you want to do to fight osteoporosis, is you have to put a weight load on that muscle that doesn't overload, on that bone, on your structure, I should say, so that it doesn't overload that bone structure, but it creates things. When you train, you create things called osteoblasts. These osteoblasts build bone density. And well, they also keep you from going into that osteo for too fast. Osteoporosis happens both to men and to women as they age. And so having that weight load and understanding that strength training helps keep those bones stronger for longer. Now, I'm not saying it's going to cure all those things, but I am saying it's going to decline the aging process. That's where we come up with anti-aging. It creates a quality of life. You cannot extend your life. I think your genetics figure into that, but you can enjoy the years that you have. And that is the most important thing. We want to be able to play with our grandchildren. We want to be able to move freely. We want to be able to get out and do the things that we want to do. And I'm able to do that. At 64 years old, I still train jujitsu. I'll train this morning. I'll do 30 straight minutes of exercise of jujitsu training. But that comes from my ability to keep my strength up from using the system that I've developed over the years. Does that make sense?
Right. Of course, Steve. And let's understand it better in terms of your three W's. Now, weight training, understand. Walking, understood. But watching your diet, there is so much talk all day on different wherever you go. About this whole diet thing. How should we, as an individual, simple person, how should he or she understand about this diet? Should we the intermittent diet, so many diets, be on fast, not be on fast? It can be mind-boggling. What is your take on this?
So it can be mind-boggling, and you're 100% right about that. You have vegan diets, you have low-fat diets, you have low-carb diets, you have all those things. My thing is this: eat real food. That's the number one thing. You want to eat food that is real. You want to eat fresh fruit. You want to eat fresh vegetables. You want to eat lean meats, all the things that are really, really good for you. That's what you want. Now, as far as which diet to choose, I tell people, do what feels good to you, because here's what we want. We want one diet to fix everything. The problem with that is seasons change. There are certain foods that are in season that taste better at certain times. So you have to be adaptable in the middle of that. But when it comes to diet, number one thing is eating real food. You mentioned intermittent fasting. I'm a huge fan of intermittent fasting. I think it works great for people. Now, I don't want to go super extreme on that, but you can do the 16-hour fast with an 8-hour window. And in the middle of that time, what happens is you eat real food. That is the big thing. The biggest problem we have is people eat so much processed food. So, and once again, you have to figure out what your goal is. When my subtitle is "How to Lose 20 Pounds in 8 Weeks" on the book. And so in order to do that, I put diets in there, what to eat, how to eat. Some people like small meals throughout the day. That's fine. You don't make you fit the diet. You make the diet fit you. But the big thing is eating real food, avoiding junk food, getting over those addictions that people have with food. They're drinking sodas all day and things like that. And so you want to eat that real food, and that is a big key. And then I have a little trick in there. And tell people to make sure they drink about a gallon of ice cold water per day, because what happens is that actually burns over 120 calories per day. And the reason for that is your body actually has to use energy to warm that water up. And that's where you get a calorie deficit from adding that. So every little thing that I write about and every little thing over the years that I've done is I optimize what happens to your body. And that is the trick. That is the hack to getting you in shape in a shorter period of time, feeling good, and then anti-aging in the middle of it, creating longevity.
Absolutely. And that brings me to your book, The Gospel of Fitness. Uh,
Yes,
who
sir.
is this book part? Yeah. Can you show it for our
Sure,
audience
sure.
that then? Okay.
And so this book it's for everyone, actually. It's my experience over the years of just the gospel means good news. And so this is the good news about fitness. And I'm also a church pastor, so there's a spiritual aspect into this, and that's why I use the walking as time for meditation, time just to enjoy creation in the middle of it, and just to enjoy your life. The whole idea is for us to live stronger, longer, and better in the middle of it. And so the book applies to everyone. I've even used it, like I said, I use this system for high-level athletes as well. I've trained professional athletes over the years using the same system. And I've trained actually the guy that wrote my forward to this is my jiu-jitsu coach, and he was on The Ultimate Fighter. So I use this system to help him get in shape for that particular show.
Absolutely. So, what is the best way to use this book? I can buy the book, but I should also know how to use it just by reading. Have you talked about that? Is it easy for people to understand and just be able to use through the book itself?
You know what? It is. I have had such great feedback, and everyone. I was in the line at the bank yesterday, and somebody was waving their hand and yelling at me. I didn't know who it was, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" I rolled down my window, and they go, "Hey, I bought your book, and I love it, and I'm buying another one for my family member." So the best way is just to start. What I do in the first part of the book is I kind of bring you in to my experience in life. Both my parents died at 49 years old. That's why I have such a passion for helping people to live longer, stronger, and better, or stronger, longer, and better. And I think that's a big thing. So what I do is I kind of tell stories to begin, and I talk about the mistakes that we make and the things that, for example, everyone's like, I'm going to start a diet, I'm going to get in shape, and they go in like a lion, and then 3 weeks later, they go out like a lamb. There's just, and it's like, when you try so hard to do it, it's like holding your breath, and it just doesn't work. So I bring you into, and I just explain the mistakes that we make, and then I slowly begin to show you how to fix those mistakes and the principles that apply to your life and to the workouts that really do make a difference. And it's so simple. I have a workout in there for home, and then I have a workout in there for the gym, and I explain every exercise. I explain exactly what to do in every exercise, the order, what's called the rush factor, where you go from one exercise to the next as quickly as you can so that you keep that heart rate elevated in the middle of it. And when you learn how to do a hard set of exercise, because I'll have people come into my gym and they'll say, "Oh, 15 minutes, that won't work for me." They're a big bodybuilder. Within 2 exercises, I could break them down. And then they'll look at me like, "Oh my gosh, I've never felt anything like that." So it's an incredible experience in doing so. And like I said, I've had clients with me since I started the business. And one guy, my good friend, his name's Steve, and he said that I want to be able to play with my grandchildren. That was 30 years ago because his father died at a young age. He has 2 grandchildren. He gets to play with those grandchildren now. And like I said, it's not just for older people. It's the muscle decline. It's called sarcopenia. It starts at the age of 35. But like in the book, we're going to bring you in. I'm going to explain everything to you, how life works, how my personal experiences are. And then we go into using it as a technical manual as well. So you can, "Hey, I don't understand this exercise." I explain in detail how to do the exercise, every single exercise. I have pictures in there on how to do them. And then the way I set the program up, it's an 8-week program. We start kind of 3 times a week. We move it to 2, and then we increase the volume just a little bit. So at the end of that 8 weeks, people are peaking, and then they can start over again if they want to, or just continue on with that session from there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one last thing I want to understand for the audience: you talk about the role of faith also into this whole fitness formula. What's the role faith plays? Is it about me having faith in myself, or is it something beyond that?
Well, for me, I have faith in a creator. I believe in a creator, and I have faith in that. But here's the thing also. The way I use my exercise and my faith, I think it's interconnected. I think we are given this beautiful gift of a body, and I think it's our job, our responsibility to take care of ourselves. And we not only do that for ourselves, but we do it for others. We do it for our family, for the other people around us. And then people will look at that. And I think a lot of times in this world, we have so many people who struggle. with life. They just struggle. And having a faith calms your soul. Having a faith in the Lord, it just really makes a difference for me. It's I wake up every morning. I do my Bible reading. I'm that's just how I live my life. I don't force that on anyone, but it's just for me. It's so important. It's such a valuable part. Before I got on the show, I just sat. I had some thoughts. I sat. I read my Bible. I just I was thinking to myself, people need to hear how important it is to take care of themselves. You live your life in such a better fashion. You have such peace in your soul in the middle of that. Of course, life's going to throw us all kinds of problems. It's always going to come at us in that way. But there's a quote that Jesus said. He said, "In this world, you'll have trouble, but I came to give you peace." And so that's my big thing with my faith, is that we get this great gift of the gospel, this good news that happens in our faith and in our fitness, and it brings calm to my soul. Does that make sense?
A lot of sense indeed, Steve. A lot of sense indeed.
Yeah,
And I'm sure a lot of
go ahead. I'm sorry.
you carry on.
It's interconnected. Everything that we do is just interconnected in the middle of that. And so the spiritual aspect is so vitally important. As we age, here's the thing about aging. Aging is grieving because we have so many losses. We lose our friends. We begin to lose our health. Nothing's going to be perfect. But if I have that faith and that calm in my soul, oh my gosh, there's nothing greater than that for me.
Absolutely, absolutely. There is so much to learn from you about all these things, and I'm sure a lot of people would want to learn about fitness, learn about faith, learn about even the right kind of aging, And so many people who want to know about your book, The Gospel of Fitness, and
Yeah.
how do they get. So, what's the best way for them to connect with you, and also the best way to get this hold of this book?
The book's on Amazon. And just look Steve McKinney, The Gospel of Fitness. It's on Barnes & Noble now online. Just go on Barnes & Noble online. I also put my email in there. I am on Instagram, Fitness and More STL. Facebook, Steve McKinney. I have a special Facebook group called the Gospel of Fitness Inner Circle. When people buy the book, they can enter into that inner circle. There's a couple of questions, and then if they have questions, I answer questions. And I just I just completed a book tour in Florida. I explained how all that went. That's a great way to reach out as well. And then those are and then email is steve@fitnessandmore.net. And my website is fitnessandmore.net.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed.
What a pleasure.
Thank you so much indeed for joining us.